Will Edward Nygma finally be able to dig deep and summon up the power to defeat Batman once and for all? Well, let's find out together, shall we, as we dig into the pages of the Riddler Year of the Villain issue number 1 and find out. Alrighty then, so as we join the book, Edward Nygma is meeting his best friend in the world, King Tut, at his Egyptian-themed restaurant, and if you don't think that's funny, remember for a second, Riddle of the Sphinx, it's really quite clever. Now, I can only imagine some of my younger fans are probably thinking to themselves, wait, King Tut, is that a Batman villain? Yes, actually, a holdover from the weird and wonderful 60s Adam West era of Batman villains, only this time, this new version is an actual real Egyptian guy, and not just some white dude in pharaoh face. Tut and Riddler talk about that try as they might with their brilliant plans and deadly death traps, they've never been able to get the better of Batman. Nygma says it's obvious, I mean, he's just a highly tuned machine built for violence, how are we ever to overcome something like that? Maybe things would be different though if they had some help, and as it stands right now, Apex Lex of the Legion of Doom has been going around and gifting supervillains tons of money and resources to take their villainy game to the next level. Everybody except Tut and Riddler because, well, he thinks they're losers. Tut, rightly so, requires no explanation, but Nygma ultimately does end up getting an answer from the man himself. Lex Luthor breaks in and wishes to explain to him in detail why he didn't gift him anything. Mainly, it seems that Lex does not respect the Riddler. He says that Nygma is a child's approximation of what a villain is supposed to be, a guy who runs around in a colorful suit obsessed with logic puzzles. I mean, that's big talk from a man in a Party City cloak who spliced his own DNA with Martian DNA, but that's none of my business. Luthor ultimately takes pity on the Riddler, saying he knows full well what it's like to live with obsession. He spent a lifetime obsessed with Superman and money and the business world, but perpetua freedom from all that. He also relates Nygma's life story to a guy he used to know from Smallville, a dude who lost his life savings and his family trying to build the perfect hurricane shelter, only for his crappy house to fall down on him. Basically, the world around Riddler has changed numerous times, but he himself hasn't changed. Perhaps that is the greatest riddle of all. Who is Edward Nygma? Where is he going? And only after he answers that question is Lex willing to actually help him out. Naturally, Nygma blows Lex off, thinking that he's full of hot air and doesn't understand, all the real work that goes into being the Riddler. It's not long after that, Riddler gets recruited by Tut to assist on his newest caper. The idea being that if they help each other out, pool their resources, they won't even need Lex. Besides, Batman can't possibly see two completely different gimmicks coming at once, right? It's genius. Naturally, though, when Tut tries to get Batman's attention by claiming to have a dirty bum, the Dark Knight doesn't find this funny at all. In fact, he takes it 100% seriously. Well, okay, he takes the bomb threat seriously, but he doesn't take Tut seriously at all. In fact, he's basically roasting his entire death trap while he goes through it. Now, the whole point of this scheme is that Batman will go through this Egyptian-themed Hall of Horrors, lose track of what's going on, and eventually Riddler will pop out of the sarcophagus and get him once and for all. Only, the unforeseen side effect is that Riddler has a lot of time to think about himself and what Lex said to him while he's hanging out in the sarcophagus. Why is he the Riddler? Why does he always try and prove that he's smarter than everyone? Is it because his own parents were absent and abusive? Is it because he was bullied? Is it because being smart was the only time he ever felt seen in his whole life? But surely being smart just for the sake of it has gotten him pretty much nowhere. Oh, sure, he's respected in the supervillain community, but, well, a lot of those guys are losers too. It's here that Lex actually posits a riddle of his own, and that is, why is Edward Nygma like a question mark? And that is because neither of them have a point. And frankly, Nygma refuses that fate. He refuses to no longer have a point, and he gets out of the sarcophagus and leaves right in the middle of Tut's battle with Batman, shocking them both. In the end, Lex was totally right. The gift of nothing was exactly what Edward needed. Growing in the wrong direction is almost as bad as not growing at all. In fact, it's worse. As the comic winds down, Edward Nygma shreds his classic green Riddler garb and swears to start over. And believe it or not, it's on that rather defiant note that the comic comes to a close. So that was the Riddler Year of the Villain issue number 1, everybody, and I gotta say, I was very pleasantly surprised with this story. This book comes to us courtesy of Mark Russell, famous political satirist who is making quite a name for himself in the world of comics. Maybe you read his Hanna-Barbera Flintstones book, maybe you read his criminally underrated Prez series, or maybe you checked checked out his other Year of the Villain book in Sinestro. I gotta say, this one really surprises me because its voice is completely different from all of those, yet still being fresh, funny, and insightful. It's sadly still very much up in the air right now whether or not we will actually see the fallout of any of these Year of the Villain one-shots, or if they're just kind of here to mark time and fill up one-shot slots until it's all done. But as it stands right now, I'm actually quite interested to see where Mark Russell could potentially take the Riddler from here on out, an Edward Nygma who desperately wants to reinvent himself and try something new, free of the old crippling gimmick. Heck, maybe he'll go back to being a Sherlock-esque private detective like he did in the pre-Flashpoint continuity, or maybe he'll try something new completely, or maybe they'll just forget about this. Regardless, the more I think about this issue, the more I actually ended up liking it. Overall, I would give this one a 9 out of 10. If you're in the market for a fun little one-shot, definitely check this one out.
Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again. Just wanted to take a moment to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, and if you're in the market for comic books right now, and I mean really who isn't, you might want to check out my book depository link down in the description. It's no joke my favorite place to buy comic book trades. You get a great price, and if you use my link, not only will you be getting yourself something nice, but you'll be helping out the channel a little bit while you do so. So, you win, I win, everybody wins, right? And until next time everyone, this has been Cape Joel, bye-bye.